Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Suffering for Art podcast. I am your host, Brianna Kaleen, and exciting news, today's episode is brought to you by Salt River Therapy. If you've been feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or just not quite like yourself lately, you don't have to figure it out alone. Salt River offers therapy for individuals and couples in person in Brooklyn and virtually across New York and New Jersey. You can even schedule a free consultation to see if it's the right fit. No pressure, just a chance to connect. Visit saltrivertherapy.com to learn more. Today, we are talking about side hustles. Now, with side hustles, we always want to have a flexible side hustle that allows you to pursue your creative endeavors while still making money, and not just baseline money, wealth building money. We want to be able to pay off our debts. We want to be able to have savings. We want to be able to fund our artistic endeavors and our lifestyle. And so that means we have to have really good side hustles that aren't traditional or conventional. And so on this podcast, we of course always talk about different side hustles that are different from waitressing or nannying or bartending. And today we are talking about virtual assistant work. We have a lovely guest who is going to tell you all about themselves. So, Aleah, tell us everything about yourself. Literally your artistic endeavors, your virtual assistant work, everything about you. I want to know it all. Brag, please, brag.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Aleah Vassell, as Brianna just said. I use they, she pronouns. A quick little spiel, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. So I have 2 theater degrees. I got my Bachelor of Fine Arts in Musical Theater from Stanford University. And then I got my Master of Fine Arts in Acting from University of Knoxville, Tennessee. I graduated in 2020, May 2020, during the pandemic. So everything was shut down. New York was the next step for me. It was taken away. And my whole entire personal finance journey started during that moment because I had to figure out how to get creative with money. 2020 was the year that I also realized that making $15,000 per year is not normal. That was something that I think I took to heart in undergrad of like, you're going to suffer for your art. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. When my career stopped, I had to then separate my worth from my career, including the starving artist mindset and take in a thriving artist mindset. So I went from making $15,000 to $20,000 per year in 2021 and before to 2022, quadrupling my income, ending 2022 with $116,000.
Wow.
I took so many side hustles on and I kept the ones that stuck. But the main thing that really allowed me to get creative with money was starting a virtual assistant business. That was about 60% of my income that year. Flash forward to now, I now have a 6-figure virtual assistant business. I have hit $10,000 months in my virtual assistant business, and it has allowed me to live my artistry and perform my artistry with true financial security. So that's some things about me. I've also paid off about $60,000 of debt in the past few years, including my car note. I have learned to start investing, and my main thing is just helping other creatives figure out how to get creative with money and how to build wealth, how to manage the money that you already have coming in, and like feel good about it. There's a lot of mindset that comes into it as well. So that's me.
Wow. Wow. You pretty much just like wrapped in a bow, I think, a lot of people's dream as creatives. It's like you want to be able to say, because I just did my taxes, right? They were due yesterday.
Hey.
And looking at the amount you make, I know I was really cutting it close. I really was. But I did finish it in time. But looking at the amount you make from like your artistic endeavors and being like, I think most artists would probably be in that 15K, 20K range.
Yeah.
And so it's like looking at that and being like, wow, that is technically poverty level in New York City. Like that is literally considered the level to be poor. Like you were not in the middle class, you were poor. And so it's like looking at that and being like, first of all, kudos to how many creatives and artists survive off of that.
Yeah.
Like that is impressive in itself. It is really difficult to do, and we do it well while still juggling everything that we have.
Mm-hmm.
But also recognizing like there's better. And I think the hardest thing is being like,
Yes.
there is better. You know what I mean? And acknowledging that to then prepare to start building wealth.
Exactly.
And it's 2020, I guess, was a really good time for you to recognize that. I'm thinking. Where were you based during that time?
I was based in Tennessee because that's where I had just graduated from. And
Got it.
what really set me off of like this is not normal was the unemployment money that was coming in. If you were unemployed at that time, you could get $600 per week, which broke down to $15 per hour. And I was like, wait, people are making $600 a week, which is only $2,400 for the month. But that was
Yeah.
mind blowing to me. And
Yeah.
I was like, if this is someone else's normal and I'm living underneath this, like I need to get my stuff together.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like I think the um minimum wage in America is like 7.21 or something like that.
725. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, 7.25. And so it's like, okay, if with unemployment, we're making double that,
Hello?
it's like, wait a second, something's off here. You know what I mean? And so, what a lot of people find themselves doing is they move to a major city or they stay where they graduated and then they
Yeah.
start working a side job that is typically some kind of waitressing or barista type thing. And that's typically going to pay you probably around like, if you're at Starbucks, I think now it's like $14.
Yeah.
And so, it's like, if you're making anything less than that, you are poor.
Yeah.
So, like, that mindset switch for you is like, it's really important because I think a lot of people just think it's the reality. I know I heard in college, I went to Oklahoma City University. I heard all the time, like, oh, you're just going to struggle for a while until you make it. Like, that was just how it was. That's what they told us. Instead of giving us the real tools to be able to thrive while we're waiting for our creative dream to kick off.
Exactly.
Um, and so when you started with all of these side hustles, were you just kind of searching and grabbing? Like, how did you go about doing that?
Okay, so this is what I did is what I teach. So this is
Mm,
kind of the basic principle of who I am. I started
yeah.
with what I knew. I started with the skill set that I already had. So I looked at the jobs that I had done as a teenager, the jobs that I had done in undergrad, and I was like, okay, what is my skill set? Here it is. Second
Mm,
thing, what do I actually like doing? Then I
mm,
narrowed it down because the more that you enjoy something, the more that the money will come because it doesn't necessarily feel like a job. So for
yeah.
me, that was like, I'm good with people. I'm good with administrative work. And so I just started reaching out. Like, freelancer me took over that I had never experienced this before. I started emailing people, anyone that I knew, and I was like, hey, this is my situation. I'm looking for work. This is my skill set. If you know anyone that is interested in what I can do to support, please let me know. One of the
Mm,
places that I emailed first was the theater that I had just been attached to in grad school for 3 years, which was an equity theater, Clarence Brown. I was like, hey,
mm,
I was just a graduate for you, a teaching assistant for you. If there's any
yeah.
admin work that I can do for you in your office, let me know. That was my
Mm,
first VA client. I was
wow.
essentially the title they gave me was administrative intern slash social
Mm,
media manager intern. Um, and I was a W-2 employee, so I didn't really understand like I had gotten this client on my own.
yeah.
But that was the start of absolutely everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you just reached out to people. An
Yeah.
email. The
Yeah.
power of an email. My sister is always like the person who's like, just email them. And I'm always like, they're not gonna. And then it's like, it happens. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the power of an email. That's
But
incredible.
I also want to
So,
say like it is about emailing who you know. Because if you
mm,
have an in with that person, it will most likely get read. So the fact that I emailed friends, colleagues, families that all knew my name,
mm-hmm,
it took the time to answer that email. Like cold emails sometimes work, but that was really
right.
what gets you where you need to be is leaning on
Mm-hmm.
your network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started with that first client,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you said you went from 15K, 20K to what was your first time that you were like, oh,
In okay, 2020 I was still at 2021
uh-huh.
I had essentially doubled that, making 27,000, which was a
Crazy.
big deal for me. Still
Yeah.
low, but I was like, okay, if I can do this, I can do more.
Right.
2022, $116,000 is how.
Okay, how do we make the leap? Like, what happened there?
Okay.
I want to know.
One, money mindset. It was what I was talking about of separating myself from this starving artist mindset and realizing like I had to reframe everything I had been taught instead of like, oh, I'm just going to struggle for a while. I had to question that. Why do I have to struggle? Why does anyone have to struggle? Like, I know that that's a normal, but that doesn't have to be everyone's reality. So the big mindset thing that I took and that I love to say is like, making money outside of my artistry does not make me any less of an artist. It makes me a better one. That is what I took. That is what I always say. And from having that mindset, the money in other ways outside of my artistry came in, and it made me feel more and more empowered. So really had to dig into my money mindset, look at the stories that I had beforehand of like, do I have to starve? What did my parents teach me about money? Do I think I need to struggle because I saw them struggle? All of that stuff. It's a lot. You go into it. You just take your time. It's not going to get fixed in one day. It's an ongoing practice. So as that was happening, I was then again looking into my skill set. I was like, all right, so I have I can teach. So I was teaching some theater classes to children, to teenagers virtually through different companies. I was helping administratively as a virtual assistant, just under different titles. And then 2022, I said yes to anything that came my way. There was a dramaturgy opportunity for me, and I was like, I can do that. I've never done it before.
Yeah.
See how that goes. There was a directing opportunity. I can do that. Never done it before. Let's see how it goes. I literally said yes to everything for 6 months. And after 6 months, so June hit, I reviewed my year and was like, okay, what money did this bring me in? First off, did I like this? If it brought me in money and I liked it, I continued on with the second half of the year. And 2022 is when I went from freelancing to being like, okay, I have a virtual assistant business. I created a name for myself. I started taking those emails that I was sending out more seriously. And then I also landed a 9-to-5 as an executive virtual assistant. What I had learned in that time was, okay, I can still get a 9-to-5, but that doesn't mean I want to get comfy. That didn't stop me from my side hustle. That didn't stop me from my artistry. I actually, when I started my virtual assistant business, I had my 9-to-5, and I got to $5,000 months in my VA business within the first 3 months, which was the same as the salary that I was making. So that just pushed me to go even further. I really was like, I'm not going to stop. Like, because
right. Because why would you?
Yeah, some people get comfortable, which is completely fine. But I was like, I have goals. They are big. I want to see how far I can go. Through that, the 9-to-5, I only lasted a year. You know what? I say this with the grace and the humility of knowing that I let go of like a really privileged position. That is someone's dream, but it was not mine. I was a executive virtual assistant for a Black tech startup. A Black woman founder. I was making $60,000 per year, and it was supposed to be 40 hours per week. It was anywhere from 20 to 40. It was whatever she needed. She just wanted me on call. So I knew I had it good, but I realized it was holding me back from a lot of things that I wanted to do, specifically my artistry. So the fact that I have freelanced, I've had my business, I've had a 9-to-5, and I'm back to having my business, back to being self-employed, that really helped me, because a lot of people are like, oh, get a big girl job, get a 9-to-5, you're going to feel really good. It's not for everybody, specifically creatives. And that was just really empowering for me to know of like, I can make money in any way. It doesn't have to just be the normal 9-to-5 route.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, you said so many good things. I'm gonna go. I'm rewinding back. I was like trying to like cork everything. I was like, remember. The thing that I really love that you said was your transition into 2022. I think you said when you hit your 6 month mark in and you took stock of everything you had just made, and to continue forward, you said, did I like it?
Yes.
I think that's so, so important. I've heard from like a lot of people, and I think this is such a great point. When you're doing something that you love, it feels like passion work or fun work instead of work.
Yes.
And I think a lot of side hustles, I know for me, like baristaing, I did it in college, that felt like work. It was physically exhausting, it was mentally exhausting, it was relationally exhausting. I was meeting so many people.
Yeah.
I felt like I had to be on all the time. It was not for me. And I think like knowing yourself enough to know like virtual assistant work, if I'm type A, might be really good for me if I like to work from home and not be around people, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or if I'm type B, maybe this is going to be more of a challenge and I don't really want that. You know what I mean? So it's like kind of deciding, does this actually serve me the way I want it to serve me?
Exactly.
Not just financially, but mentally and physically and relationally.
Yes.
And so I think that was a really good point that you made about, do I actually like this to continue doing it? And then also what you said about, being 9 to 5 versus freelancing.
Yeah.
That is so important to know for yourself, because I'm the same way. I'm not a 9 to 5 girly. I can't do it. I can't. And it really does come with some really good cushion. Like you said, like if you're working with really great people and like-minded people who are doing great things, it's like, and you are on a sliding scale of work hours and it's kind of just like good money.
Yeah.
It's hard to step away from that. But because you had opened so many avenues for yourself, you were able to be like, okay, let me go back. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like it's this job or nothing. My mom used to always say, don't put your eggs in one basket, right? All your eggs in one basket. And if you continually open doors that will allow you to have opportunities and financial gain, then when you want to close the door, you can.
Correct.
And that is the beauty of doing that. And it seems like you did that really well.
Thank you.
When you took that 9 to 5, you said you weren't able to pursue your artistic endeavors. Was it the hours? Like what caused you to feel that way?
So I had actually gotten this 9 to 5 through a virtual assistant agency that was geared toward creatives. So like,
okay,
the job, if you have an artistic endeavor, you can take anywhere up from 4 to 6 weeks off, and someone else will cover your work for you. And I was like,
cool.
that sounds incredible. So
Yeah.
I did that. I got a lead role at a theater in Florida. A title role, very cool. And when I came back, everything in the startup had changed. They had also low key like demoted my position. So I went from like executive virtual assistant of the startup founder to like executive virtual assistant of like second in command, just because I was there for that time. So it wasn't necessarily like, oh, I've been punished, but in my brain, I was reprimanded for not being there. And so that kind of showed me like, I do like my space at this company. I don't necessarily want it to be taken away, so I didn't do it again. And again, it wasn't like they were out here trying to punish me. It was just I was gone and they needed to switch things around, and I did that. But I think I had gotten a little attached to my position in the company and everything that I was doing, that I was like, well, this is making me money, so let me just try to put this first and see what happens. So it was like it was honestly a little bit of like the starving artist mindset coming back, because I was in a position that I'd never been in before. And I ended up like making that position my priority instead of myself being the priority. So that's kind of how that went. And I just realized after so long, I was like, I don't feel like myself anymore. Like, what do I need to do to get myself back? And so, am I allowed to cuss?
Yes, feel free.
That's a fuck you fund. That's what we don't call it. But
Right.
that's what I call it.
Okay.
And what that was for me was I saved up 2 months of expenses. People will do this anywhere from 2, 3, 6, whatever your comfort level is. And it's
Yeah.
different from an emergency fund because it has a purpose that is not just everything. It was one goal.
Yeah.
My goal
Yeah.
was to quit my job. So my fuck you
Mm.
fund was $5,000, $2,500
Okay.
per month of expenses, 2 months, because I was like, within 2 months, I can find more clients in my virtual assistant business. That was also still happening at this time. So once I hit that, I was like, it's time to go. I hit that
Right.
in May of 2023. And I put my 2 weeks in. We just kind of came to a mutual agreement and I stopped June 15th. And then my business and artistic career took off. Literally,
Wow.
it had been a while since I'd been booked out. You know, when you start and then like every 3 months, 6 months, like clients can change and
Yep.
stuff. Once
Yeah.
I let go of my 9 to 5, I was booked out for like months on end in my virtual
Wow.
business. And that was just kind of showing me like, oh, okay, this is what happens when you choose yourself. And then I got
Yeah.
roles and all of this stuff. So yeah,
So everything just kind of fell into place.
yes.
And did you find, were you scared to like take your business full time?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, and like it still technically is full time, but I've always only worked part-time hours. I have not worked any
Nice.
more than 25 hours in my business, and I kind of at this point of where I am, it's like 10 to 20 per week.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how much do you make from your Thriving VA company
So
per
I
month?
will make anywhere from like 30,000 to 50,000 per year. And I say
Wow.
6-figure business because doing this since 2022 to 2025, that 30, that 50, that 40 has added up to 6 figures.
That's incredible. And you work 20 hours a week.
Yeah, 10, 20.
That's awesome.
I'm proud to partner with Salt River Therapy. Their team of thoughtful, affirming therapists work with individuals and couples navigating anxiety, grief, identity questions, and all the real stuff life likes to throw at us. Whether you're looking for in-person sessions in Brooklyn or virtual therapy across New York and New Jersey, Salt River is a beautiful place to start. And yes, you can schedule a free consultation to see if it's a good match. No pressure, just genuine human connection. Head to saltrivertherapy.com to get started today.
Virtual assistant work. Let's go to the basics. And then I'll ask you how you find clients and everything in a second.
Okay.
But if you were to teach somebody like in 2 minutes, the basics of what you do every single day for your clients as a virtual assistant, what do you do?
Okay. As a virtual assistant, I'm going to get into that. I have transitioned from virtual assistant to virtual assistant coach as of this year. So like if you come to me, I'm going to teach you how to do the thing, but know that like I'm no longer actively in that space. I'm giving all of the opportunities to you. So to break it down,
Awesome.
As a virtual assistant, the basics of that is you are a person providing support to a business owner or a company virtually. What that can look like is anything from administrative support, email management, helping someone with their calendar, taking notes, writing documents, all the way to social media. You could potentially create graphics for them, reels for them, do engagement for them. You could do websites. If you like websites, we are sticking with skills that you know, but just looking at everything that you can do virtually and offering that in your business. Some people also do copywriting where they will edit words, edit documents, write things for people. Some people will do systems where they will build things for people. Say you need your Google Drive built and organized. Or if you have any project management tools, you need one of those. There's Asana, there's Trello, there's Monday. There's so many things in this online space, but it is to find what you already know how to do and what you want to learn to do and go from there. As I was saying, like the basics, you usually start in admin, which would be a general VA, but you can move on to a creative VA. You can move on to a tech VA.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. I feel like that was a really good fit in a tiny box what virtual assistant can do, because it really can be like anything because of how expansive the tech world is.
Correct.
It's kind of like you could do grant writing, you could just like expand it to whatever you feel like you can do. And the great thing about it is like millennial Gen Z, we grew up with
Oh,
technology,
we
and
did.
so it's like they're like, "Do you know how to use Google Suite?" And it's like, "Yes," but like that, not everybody does, and so
Right.
it's like you may think it's not a skill that others would need, but a lot of the times it is.
Yes.
And so that's a really great spiel. When if somebody's trying to, which like they said, you can take with them and learn about all of this. But give us a little bit more pointers, not too much, so that people can come to you.
Sure.
But when someone's trying to start out as a virtual assistant, where would they start? Like, what would they do to get into this world?
I want to tell you there's a million ways to find clients. And I'm going to repeat myself at this point. You want to start with what you know and where you already show up. There's a lot of people out there of like, oh, if you want a virtual assistant, go on Upwork or do this or
Right.
do this. What are you already good at? Do you hang out on Instagram? Do you hang out
Mm.
on Threads? Find where you already are and then take time to put yourself out there. You don't even
Yeah.
need a virtual assistant like Instagram or Threads or whatever. Like, sure, it's helpful. When I first started, I literally just had my own personal Instagram, and then I decided to put virtual assistant in the bio.
Mm.
I put like artist and virtual assistant just so when I'm reaching out to people and they check on me, they're like, oh, this is what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you're already an Instagram person, start engaging with people that you want to work with. Go on their threads, go on their Instagram, leave them comments, start genuine conversations, and then
Mm-hmm.
see if there's a way for you to pitch yourself. If you are not a social media person, okay, let's go to email. Do what I did. Make a list of friends, family, and colleagues that you can reach out to tell about your business, and end that email with, if you know anyone in your network who could use my
Mm.
skill set, please let me know. And if it is that person that you're emailing, they will let you know. So
Yeah.
those are the places that I'm like, start with what you know. If you're not a social media person, start with the email. If you want to be technology free, start going into your favorite businesses or go to the
Mm.
places that you hang out. Make a little flyer for yourself of like, hi, I'm Aleah. I'm a virtual assistant. If you want to
Yeah.
work with me, here's my phone number. Here's my email. Put it up at your favorite coffee shop. Put it up at the gym. Put it up at the
Mm.
library. Like, you can get creative with money.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, those are great options. I feel like also the way, so fun fact, I'm also a virtual assistant, but the way that I went about it was my mom actually was a virtual assistant when I was growing up. She was
Oh,
a stay-at-home
cool.
mom and a virtual assistant.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool mom. I had a cool mom.
Yeah.
She worked for a company called Belay. And when I was baristaing in college and I was over it, she was like, you should try to apply for Belay, which is a company that essentially partners with virtual assistants and hires them on as independent contractors and then puts them in touch with clients, and then you essentially work for the client through Belay.
Yeah.
And so I was like, but I don't know anything about virtual assistant work. And she was like, but you do. And essentially said the same thing that I just said of like, you know how to use Gmail, you know how to use Microsoft Word, you know how to do social media. Like, you have a lot of things in your tool belt. And the great thing is, anything can be learned through YouTube University and Google. And
Exactly.
that's exactly what I did. Any tools, like you mentioned earlier, project management tools like Asana and Monday, all of those, I just would go on YouTube and type in how to use Asana. And that was how I learned. And then
Yes.
I was able to always say in interviews, oh, I have, a little bit of experience, but always happy to learn more of what I need. And
Exactly.
I was able to start with Belay, and I did that through college. And I had that through the first couple of years of my creative journey here. And I just transitioned to a new company called Zirtual. And so there's also that route.
Yes.
Though I will say that having your own business is, in my opinion, always the best way to go as a creative, because you get to make your hours and you get to decide if you take on more clients, all the things. But if you want like a safety net type of thing when you're starting out at this, then those are also really good ways to start.
Exactly. And I would love to
Yeah.
talk about like the realistic like money difference of working with a virtual assistant agency versus like working on your own. I
Yes.
had looked at Belay and I had also looked at Zirtual. What I ended up
Mm-hmm.
working with was Priority VA, and then there were a couple others as well.
Mm-hmm.
In my time working with a virtual assistant agency, 2022 to 2023, I made anywhere from $16 to $23 at Belay. Currently, do you make more than that? Is it like 23 to 30? Like, you don't even have to give me a number, but like, is it in that bracket?
Yeah, so it's around 25 an
Okay.
hour to 20.
Okay.
And because of my experience, I'm at 25 per hour. And
Great.
so that's what I make from Belay. Now,
Okay.
Zirtual is less than that. Zirtual is around 18 to 20.
Okay. Perfect.
So,
So we
yeah,
can
it kind of depends.
Okay, so we can put
Yeah,
like today's range of working with a VA agency anywhere from 18 to 25.
correct.
If you are working in your own business, I tell people to start at 25 because the thing about
Mm,
it is you're not getting like you save for your taxes. So
right.
say that you're charging 25, but after taxes, that's actually $20 an hour. And the more
Yeah.
that you are comfortable in your skill set, the higher you can go. I tell people to charge
Hmm.
anywhere from 25 to 50, but if you are just starting
Wow.
out, 25 to 30 is the lowest that you want to go. So
Yeah.
I totally agree with you wholeheartedly. Starting with the VA agency was how I got my feet wet too. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I can get clients this way. It's an easier way. But I
Hmm.
always noticed that I made way more money when I was working on my own.
Yeah, because technically, like if you look at the packages of these companies, they're essentially pitching around like 1,800 for the full month
Yeah,
for these clients. And what you end up taking away after, so they have to split the fee between themselves and you. And so you're essentially not getting that full 18. And then you also sometimes have to take out your own taxes. So what you end up making if you're with these companies is around like 700 to 800 a month. And so it's like imagine if you were only there and you were able to charge somebody $1,800. It's
exactly.
like, you know what I mean? You'd be making a lot more money. And so it kind of depends on, if you're just starting, it might be good, like you said, to get into the company why like the way to do it that way.
Hmm.
But if you feel confident in your skills and you're a person who's like, I'm a go-getter, like I feel like I can do this, I know enough people, I would really suggest doing your own and seeing what happens that way. Just try it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
My
Yeah.
my last virtual assistant client was this year. We ended January 2025, and I was
Hmm.
working with her making 60 an hour. I had gone
Wow.
from, 16 at the virtual agencies, 2020, 2021 to 2025. That was my
Yeah.
minimum price. So just
Hmm.
want to say, like, it is possible to continue to grow your skill set and get to a place where you're like, okay, this is my number.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, growing that skill set doesn't have to look like getting a certification. It can
Correct.
literally be YouTube University. A lot of jobs you have to get certified for people to take you seriously.
Yeah.
But the really great thing about virtual assistant work is you can't really be certified in Google. And so it's like you just go on YouTube, you know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep. And
Um
these are like the things that you need, like four things to be a virtual assistant. You need reliable
mhm,
Wi-Fi. You need a reliable laptop or computer. You need
mhm.
resourcefulness, which will take you to Google or YouTube University when you're learning something. And then you need discipline. Because if you are setting
Yeah.
your own hours, if you are working as your own boss kind of thing, like you really need the discipline to be like, okay, I'm going to show up. I'm going to do this work today. So if you have
Yes.
those four things, it is very possible for you. Just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, that those are really good. The fourth one is a big one because if you're
Mm-hmm.
not used to working virtually, it's essentially on your own hours that you get
Yeah.
these things done. I know my typical week is I have a weekly check-in with my clients,
Yep.
and then it's essentially like I just do whatever whenever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on call in my email inbox to be like, got you, whenever they send me something.
Yeah.
But I can work whenever, and sometimes
Yep.
I
Yep.
will I will end up not working for a whole day because I could just be like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow.
And that's
So if
fine.
this is right, it's fine. That's the beauty of working virtually. But if you're starting out and trying to, get clients and really treat it as a business, then you do have to be there at least once a day.
That is the schedule.
Exactly. So that's also the thing about working with a company. It's like you don't really have to be on all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if this is your business and you're really trying to start it out, you got to be on. You know what I mean? You are your marketing team, you are your CEO, you are your finance wing, like you are everything about it. And so it can look like skipping a day, but I would suggest you like give a couple hours to it each day. You know what I mean? To really put in the work.
Yeah.
When you do, this is funny. When you do your taxes, do you have somebody else do your taxes or do you do them?
I do them. It's like a ritual for me. I want to be in charge of every deduction. I want to be in charge of like seeing every penny I make, and
Yeah.
It goes well for me.
Right? Okay, so I feel like and I won't go too far into this because this is a whole nother topic, but the thing about virtual assistant work is even when you're with the companies, you're an independent contractor. So they don't necessarily take out your taxes each paycheck. And so what that looks like is you get to if you aren't really checking it and making sure you're on top of things, you get to tax season and then the IRS is like, you owe us money.
Yeah.
And so if you aren't very strategic about putting money aside for your taxes, then you can end up owing a lot of money as a virtual assistant. And that's just something I wanted to throw out because when I first started, I didn't know that. Yep. And I got to my first tax year as a virtual assistant and I was like, oh my gosh, I owe them so much money.
Yes.
And so do you just make sure that every single time you get paid, you put it aside? Like, how do you do that?
So I have the best business bank account in the entire world. It's called Found. And it's a free online business bank account. Every time I get paid, it takes a smart withdrawal and puts it into my tax savings account that is also a part of this bank. If you don't have Found, like you want to put away 20 to 30% of your paycheck manually every time, but this bitch will just be like, okay, I get paid $100, and it's like, right, I just auto drafted 30 to your tax savings. You're welcome. Like literally, I don't have to do nothing.
And it's free.
Yes, and so once you go to your tax savings, which is a part of your free account, you have your checkings. You can have your multiple savings or whatever. They've got pockets too to have for different goals. But the tax savings also comes with this free bank account. Whenever you go in there, it will tell you how much is in there and how much they estimate that you will owe quarterly. So wow. It does the work for you. And so when, yesterday, April 15th came around, I think I owed $1,700 and I had $2,000 saved by the bank.
Wow.
So I was like, this is great. Like this is,
I
don't even have to think about it. It's automated.
That is awesome. I'm all for an automated financial tool because the amount of things we have to juggle already, I don't need to be thinking like, okay, let 30%, put it away. Like, you know what I mean? Like every single time. And it's free. We'll have that link in the description box because that is awesome. Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay, so before we close, I want people to know where they can find you. If you have anything coming up, plug your business because we are here to showcase you, okay? And just let us know any words of encouragement you have for people who are thinking about getting into virtual assistant work or just side hustles or building wealth, all the things.
Okay, I will start with where you can find me, and then I will end with some words of advice. Perfect. If you want to talk money as an artist, as a creative, as a self-employed business owner, you can find me at Creative with Money on Instagram, TikTok, Threads. If you are interested in my theater work and my artistry, you can find me on Instagram at the Self-Care Storyteller. I just closed Camelot, the musical, at the Human Race Theater where I got to play Queen Guinevere, like literally Sunday. And
Congrats!
Thank you so much. My next artistic endeavor will be being the character of Mulberry in a new world premiere musical, Mrs. Dalloway at Cincinnati Shakespeare. Awesome. I'm also assistant directing something. I'm also directing something, blah, 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 blah. Like the list goes on. That's next for me. When it comes to my business, when it comes to how I can help you get your money up, I will be re-releasing my virtual assistant ebook in May. This is just the ultimate do-it-yourself virtual assistant ebook of like how to get your first client, make your first $500. And then I also have a creative budget tracker coming out for the people who would rather be creative. I have tried so many budget trackers, and they're always like, no, spend 30 minutes a day, blah, blah, blah. This 5 to 10 minutes a day, and it is for all of your income streams. It should like actually help you get your life back versus like stressing and thinking about money. And then, if you were like virtual assistants all in, I really want to give it a go. I have the Virtual Assistant Accelerate, which is a small cohort that I do twice a year. Next time will be in August. It's an 8-week program, and I teach you everything that I did to get to $5,000 months in 90 days, but I'm teaching it to you in 8 weeks. So know that that's coming up too. All of that will be on Creative with Money, and also my virtual assistant coaching page, thrivingva.co on Instagram. Okay, enough about me. Some thoughts to leave you with. You are in charge of your own destiny. When it comes to finances, it's called personal finance for a reason. So know that like what you've been taught, you can change that. If you don't want to stay a starving artist, you do not have to stay a starving artist. I have multiple streams of income coming in that allow me to have anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 of cash monthly. And that would have not happened if I didn't get out of that starving artist mindset. So know what you do, what you love can make you money, and just continue to persevere. Whether that's putting $25 away every month for savings, because at the end of the year, that's still $500 you didn't have before. Every small move that you make toward your personal finance, your growth, your wealth building is enough.
Wow. I feel like literally if anybody's like, I don't know what to do with money, I don't know what to do with virtual assistant.
Hey.
We have the person. Thank you so much for sharing all of that, for sharing the nuggets. Because what I think a lot of people don't recognize is like, you're an expert in your field, right? And so for you to come on here and take the time to give people tools is so great and so helpful for so many people who are looking for guidance, because no one has ever taught us before.
Yeah.
And we're on these like creative journeys, and I know a lot of people's minds wander to like, I want better, I just don't know how.
Yeah.
And I think you are providing a great space for people to learn that. There's free things on your Instagram. There's free things. Like, there are so many freebies that you have.
Yes.
And there are so many paid things that you have. Like, please go and look at all of her things. I mean, it's just so much. And then those words of encouragement, personal finances because they are personal to you. Yes. Clocks. That's a really good one too. Yeah. Like the little moves that you make really add up. And so thank you for your words of wisdom and everything that you've shared today.
Anytime. Thank you for having me, Brianna. This has been so nice.
Of course. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. If you want to find Aleah anywhere, I will have all of her things listed in the description box, all of the links to all the wonderful things that she talked about today. And please check her out on Instagram. And as always, I'm happy to grow with you. I'm happy to learn with you. And I will see you on the next episode.